request all of you to stand up for the prayers.
गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णू गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. विघ्नेशानमुनी गुरुसस्मरुनी लक्ष्मीस आवाहिले. आम्ही गुंतवणूकशास्त्र शिकण्या हे सत्र आरंभिले. केव्हा स्थावर आणि जंगम कधी कोठे किती गुंतवू. चर्चा मंथन तज्ञ बोध मिळता हे प्रश्नही सोडवू. ठेवी भाग सुवर्ण पोस्ट अथवा रोखे तसे फंडते. वृद्धी भांडवली मिळो कर नको पर्याय हो कोणते. कोठे उत्तम रोखता सुगमता लाभांश वा व्याजही. कोठे गुंतविणे सुरक्षित असे नोंदीस कैसी वही. सन्मार्गे धनसंपदा मिळविणे अत्यंत आवश्यक. पैसा ध्येय नसे म्हणून जपणे जाणीव सामाजिक. ज्ञानाचा उपयोग गुंतवणुकी साठी सदा होऊ दे. हे सारे समजावया सुमती दे आम्हास तू शारदे.
Good morning all. It is our effort all the time to get a lot of variety of programs for the participants of PV Bhagwat Investment Council, and in that same effort we have chosen this today's program where we have Mr. Vikas Ghorpade, who will try to bring us a difference between when you say we are doing a green investment, or a difference between when you look at the companies which are engaged in using renewable energy and reducing the footprint, carbon footprint, that is decarbonization. So I'll just give a brief introduction of Mr. Ghorpade. Yeah, Mr. Vikas Ghorpade is a project engineering consultant with hands-on experience of more than 35 years in process plant detailing, static equipment design and its simulation. He has project execution experience in countries like UAE, Qatar, Kuwait, Iraq, Uganda, Nigeria and Uzbekistan. In terms of education, he is a production engineer by qualification from Mumbai University and also a postgraduate in operations research. He's a founder and director of Denfab Consulting Engineers Private Limited. He has experience in consulting for chemicals, polymers, pharmaceutical, bulk trucks, liquid storage, terminals at port, process plants, etc. Let us welcome Mr. Vikas Ghorpade to give us insight into this wonderful topic in terms of green investment and decarbonization. But before we hand over the mic to him, I will request Mr. Udai Tadaka, our chairman, to hand over the... Thank you. So over to you, Mr. Vikas Ghorpade. Welcome you today.
Thank you. नमस्कार, गुड मॉर्निंग सगळ्या मंडळींना. रविवार आहे तरी बरीचशी उपस्थिती आहे आणि सब्जेक्ट हा असा कॉम्प्लिकेटेड आहे. ह्या सब्जेक्टचं नाव छोटं करण्यासाठी मी बराच प्रयत्न करत होतो. माझा आवाज बरोबर येतोय का ऐकू? कारण कल्पना येत नाही. मी 2-3 टायटल चेंज करण्याचा प्रयत्न केला पण त्या सब्जेक्टचा मेसेज मलाही क्लिअर होईना. म्हटलं मग हा सब्जेक्ट असाच लांब लचक राहू देत आणि जेव्हा पर्सनली 1-to-1 इंटरॅक्शन होईल तेव्हा आपल्याला त्याच्यावरती चर्चा करता येईल. मी सर्वप्रथम या संस्थेचे पी बी भागवत संस्थेचे आभार मानतो. मी लोकांना, काही माझे मित्रमंडळी काही दुरून पण आलेले आहेत, त्यांना सांगतो की ही पी बी भागवत इन्व्हेस्टमेंट काउन्सिलिंग संस्था आहे. ही जवळजवळ 1987 साली स्थापन झालेली संस्था आहे आणि इंडिव्हिज्युअल कॉमन इन्व्हेस्टर्स असतात, त्यांना वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारचं मार्गदर्शन करणे, काउन्सिलिंग करणे हा त्यामागचा मूळ उद्देश आहे. 1987ला स्थापन झालेली संस्था, तुम्ही विचार करा त्यावेळी त्या संस्थेने जे काही विचार केले असतील ते आज किती लागू पडत आहेत. आता इन्व्हेस्टर पॉप्युलेशन एवढं वाढलेलं आहे, त्या मानाने ही खूप गरजेची गोष्ट आहे. ऑल्दो आपल्याकडे आता ऑलरेडी एवढं कम्युनिकेशन सगळं फास्ट झालेलं आहे, पण तरी पण इन्व्हेस्टर काउन्सिलिंग फॉर अ कॉमन पर्सन इज स्टील मच नीडेड. आता हा आठवडा इंटरनॅशनल इन्व्हेस्टर वीक म्हणून साजरा करण्यात आलेला आहे सगळ्या ठिकाणी. बऱ्याचशा वेगवेगळ्या संस्था त्याच्यावरती वेगवेगळ्या त्याप्रमाणे आपलं योगदान देत आहेत. सो दिस इन्स्टिट्यूट ऑल्सो हॅव ऑलरेडी सेलिब्रेटेड. नाही काय हरकत नाही, हां नाही काय हरकत नाही, घेतो डोंट वरी. ह्या आठवड्यामध्ये इथे आपल्या लोकसेवा संघामध्ये भागवत इन्स्टिट्यूटने बरेचसे कार्यक्रम ऑर्गनाईज केले होते. तेव्हा या ऑर्गनायझेशनचे चेअरमन उदय तारगावकर यांनी एक छोटीशी गोष्ट सांगितली होती एका दुसऱ्या त्यांच्या स्पीचमध्ये. त्यांनी स्पीच दिलं होतं G20 आणि येणाऱ्या काळामधले G20चे वेगवेगळे फायदे इंडियाला काय झाले आणि पुढे काय होईल यावरती. तेव्हा त्यांनी एक छोटीशी गोष्ट विलेपार्ले ईस्टबद्दल सांगितली होती की विलेपार्ले ईस्ट, ज्याचा पिनकोड 400057 आहे, हा फार महत्त्वाचं आहे फॉर द इन्व्हेस्टमेंट फ्रॅटर्निटी इन फायनान्शियल वर्ल्ड. The financial world or instrument, these various instruments which they are selling, like banks, NBFC, mutual funds or insurance companies, all they have been very very attracted to Vileparle East. मी रिक्वेस्ट करतो तागरकरांना एक त्यांनी क्विकली काही शॉर्ट इम्पॉर्टंट पॉईंट्स सांगितले होते. फॉर एक्झाम्पल, इथे विलेपार्ले ईस्टमध्ये पर 100 persons there are maximum number of investors. Again there are per 100 investors, these are individually active for many years. It's not like that they are active right now. तारगावकर, थोडंसं तुम्ही 5 मिनिटात विलेपार्ले ईस्ट बद्दल लोकांना, कारण काही लोक वेगळे आहेत, त्या दिवशीच्या आपल्या ऑडियन्समध्ये नव्हते, ते 2 मिनिटात सांगा.
मला काय तुमच्या स्पीचमध्ये इंटरप्ट नाही करायचं. काही स्टॅटिस्टिक्स ओव्हर पिरियड कलेक्ट केलेले होते अबाउट विलेपार्ले, आणि एक सगळ्यात त्याच्यामध्ये तुम्हाला सांगतो, आमच्याकडे एक फाउंडर मेंबर होते सुहास झवेरी म्हणून, जस्ट कपल ऑफ इयर्स बॅक ही पास्ट अवे. आपण नेहमी डिव्हिडंड येल्ड, आणि डिव्हिडंड येल्ड 6% 7% आहे, कंपनी चांगली द्यायला. झवेरी साहेबांचं चरितार्थ हा फक्त डिव्हिडंडवरती चालायचा. मी तुम्ही विचार करा की झवेरी साहेबांकडे कुठल्या काळातले शेअर्स असतील. सो दॅट्स दी, म्हणजे आमच्या लिमये सरांनी जी ही शाखा स्थापन केली 1987 साली, मग त्याचा पर्पज असा की जोखीम विरहित इन्व्हेस्टमेंट, म्हणजे रिस्क फ्री टू सर्टन एक्सटेंट. आणि मी काही नंबर शेअर केले. आता डिपॉझिटरीजमधून काही फिगर्स येतात, पूर्वीच्या काळात पण याचे जर काही IPOचे नंबर्स घेतले होते तेव्हा असं सांगितलं होतं की ओव्हरऑल 40% ऑफ द इन्व्हेस्टमेंट कम्स फ्रॉम मुंबई, या अख्ख्या इंडियामधली. ऑफकोर्स ओव्हर पिरियड आता जसं जसं SIPचं महत्त्व वाढलं तर छोट्या छोट्या टाउन्समध्ये पण बरीच इन्व्हेस्टमेंट व्हायला लागली. पण त्या नंबर्सप्रमाणे 40% फ्रॉम मुंबई, आणि मुंबईतली 40% इज फ्रॉम 400057. म्हणजे तुम्ही इमॅजिन करू शकता. आणि तुम्ही आता त्याचं एक उत्तम उदाहरण म्हणजे तुम्ही पार्ले स्टेशनला उतरल्यानंतर आपल्यामध्ये रामकृष्ण हॉटेल आहे, तिकडून एअरपोर्ट जाणारा रस्ता आहे. तुम्ही किती बँक्स आहेत तुम्ही काउंट करा, तुम्हाला अंदाज येईल की इकडे कुठल्या प्रमाणामध्ये इन्व्हेस्टमेंट असेल, कारण प्रत्येक बिल्डिंगला 2-3 बँक्सच्या ब्रांचेस आहेत. आणि मी कधी कधी तर असं, म्हणजे मी माझं लेख लिहिताना पण टीका पण करत होतो सरकारवरती की एकच प्रमोटर आहे जो गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया, मग सिंडिकेट बँकेची बँक ऑफ महाराष्ट्राला बाजूला, म्हणजे सेन्स काय. पण दॅट्स द कॉम्पिटिशन, अँड दिस इज द एज ऑफ कॉम्पिटिशन. थँक्यू.
मी मुद्दामून सांगितली माहिती, कारण काही बऱ्याचशा लोकांना माहिती आहे, पण एक गंमत म्हणून, कारण इन्व्हेस्टमेंट अवेअरनेस इज व्हेरी इम्पॉर्टंट. हायवर आता आपण जेव्हा स्टॉक मार्केटबद्दल बोलतो, आपण या ग्रुपमध्ये बसलेली बहुतेक मंडळी सगळी जुनं स्टॉक मार्केट आणि आताच जे इव्हॉल्व झालं आहे, दे आर ऑल विटनेसिंग व्हॉट वॉज द स्टेट अँड व्हॉट इज टुडेज स्टेट फॉर द स्टॉक मार्केट. पूर्वीच्या काळी अगदी जुनी जेव्हा संस्था होती BSE, तेव्हा लोक स्टॉक मार्केटमध्ये आतमध्ये जाऊन फिजिकली उभे राहून तोंडाने ओरडून वगैरे, म्हणजे लोकांशी, म्हणजे जे ऑथराईज दलाल होते ते लोक शेअर्स घ्यायचे, विकायचे, त्याची 15 दिवसात सेटलमेंट व्हायची, जे काय करायचे ते त्या हिशोबाने चालायचं. पोझिशन घेऊन लोक पुढे जायचे. त्यानंतर एक जमाना असा आला, त्याच्यात अजून सुधारणा झाली, वेगवेगळ्या जास्ती लायसन्स देण्यात आले आणि जास्ती ब्रोकर्स निर्माण झाले आणि त्यावेळी मग लोक एकमेकांना विचारून इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करायला लागले. आणि त्याच दरम्यान मग तेव्हा एक कल्चर निर्माण झालं, टिप. कोणी मला टिप्स देईल का कुठल्या कंपन्यांबद्दल आणि काय आहे कसं आहे. कारण अभ्यास करणे तेव्हा म्हणजे पर्टिक्युलर इन्व्हेस्टमेंटसाठी कठीण होते, जास्ती माहिती अवेलेबल नव्हती. सो टिप्स घेऊन लोक हे करत होते. त्याच्यावरून एक छोटीशी गोष्ट मला आठवते. हर्षद मेहताचं सागा चालू होता तेव्हा टिप्सचं प्रमाण खूप झालेलं होतं. हर्षद मेहतावरती एक सिनेमा आला होता, त्याच्यावरती दाखवण्यात आलं होतं. खरं खोटं आपल्याला माहिती नाही, पण सिनेमात दाखवलं होतं हर्षद मेहता लिफ्टमधून रोज जात येत असतो त्याच्या बिल्डिंगच्या ऑफिसच्या बिल्डिंगमध्ये. तर तो लिफ्टमन त्याला म्हणतो, साहेब मेरे को भी कुछ टिप दे दो ना. तर हर्षद मेहता त्याच्याकडे बघून हसतो आणि म्हणतो की गाडी चलाने का है तुमको. तो म्हणतो, साहेब मैं कैसे गाडी चला सकूंगा, मेरे पास तो गाडी नाही आहे. तर हर्षद मेहता त्याला म्हणतो, लिफ्टमध्ये उभं असतानाच लिफ्टच्या प्रवासामध्ये, ठीक आहे गाडी नाही तो गाडी का टायर तो ले सकता है ना. तो म्हणतो, क्या साहेब मैं गाडी का टायर लेके क्या करू. म्हणतो, टायर म्हटलं ना अपोलो, आणि फक्त हसतो. त्याला फक्त म्हणतो अपोलो. तो दुसऱ्याला जाऊन विचारतो, अपोलो गधे अपोलो टायर लिहिले. आणि त्याच्यानंतर ते हिस्ट्री झाली. म्हणजे थोडक्यात कसं टिप्सचं वातावरण होतं त्या दरम्यान, की सगळीकडे जिथे लोक वेगवेगळ्याची बँक्स, इन्स्टिट्यूशन इकडून तिकडून ज्यांना थोडीफार माहिती आहे ते लोकांना सांगायचे. तर तोच जमाना होता. तो जमाना पास झाल्यानंतर आता तर आपण बघतो आहोत की साधारणतः एक 20 वर्षापूर्वी सगळं आता लोकांनी म्हणजे स्टॉक मार्केटमध्ये जाण्याची गरज नाही आहे आणि टर्मिनल्स घालण्यात आले वेगवेगळ्या ठिकाणी. तुम्ही डोंबिवलीमध्ये पण टर्मिनल आहे तुम्हाला आणि कर्जतमध्ये पण टर्मिनल आहे. त्याच्यासाठी स्टॉक मार्केट्सचे जे ब्रोकर होते त्यांच्यापर्यंत पोहोचण्याची गरज नाही पडली. तर बरेचसे लोक तिथल्या तिथेच आपल्या लोकांशी म्हणजे त्या टर्मिनल ज्याने ऑफिस उघडले, BSEने लायसन्स दिले होते ते म्हणजे स्टॉक ब्रोकिंग कंपन्यांना, आणि त्याप्रमाणे तिथे जाऊन इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करत राहिले. सो दॅट वॉज अनदर माइलस्टोन वेअर मोर अँड मोर इन्व्हेस्टर्स आर कमिंग बिकॉज ऑफ दिस टर्मिनल विच इज अवेलेबल नेक्स्ट डोर टू देम विदिन देअर लोकॅलिटी. त्यानंतर तर आता आपण बघतोय तर टर्मिनलची गरज नाही राहिली आहे, स्टॉक ब्रोकरची गरज नाही राहिली आहे. आपण जिथे आहोत आपल्या मोबाईल फोनवर आपण पाहिजे ते करू शकतो. सो you have various apps and like this Zerodha and many such things are there which are facilitating you for instant decision making. They are helping you for a lot of graphics, infographics. They are supplying you information once you choose something. A lot of things are there. So again, इव्होल्युशन ABCD पासून आपण त्या स्टेजपर्यंत आलो आहोत. त्यानंतर आता आपण बघतो पोस्ट कोविड किंवा कोविडच्या अगोदरपासून प्रचंड प्रमाणात इन्व्हेस्टमेंट झालेली आहे. द इन्व्हेस्टमेंट इज इन अँड एव्हरीथिंग. पूर्वी फक्त सेन्सेक्सवरती मोजलं जायचं, आता आपल्याकडे वेगवेगळे इंडेक्सेस निर्माण झालेले आहेत, S&P, दिस व्हेरियस थिंग्स. सो खूप सोफिस्टिकेशन निर्माण झालं स्टॉक मार्केटमध्ये. ओके, स्टॉक मार्केट्समध्ये इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करणाऱ्यांचं पॉप्युलेशन वाढलं, पण त्याप्रमाणे खूप नवीन प्रोडक्ट आले, खूप नवीन इन्फॉर्मेशन झाली. टेलिकॉम रिव्होल्युशन झाल्यामुळे इन्फॉर्मेशनचा फ्लो वाढला. इट इज लाईक अ डिल्यूज ऑफ इन्फॉर्मेशन अँड डेटा टू एव्हरीवन. दुपारी TV चॅनल्सवरती आपल्याकडे 500 चॅनल आहेत, त्याच्यामध्ये जवळजवळ 50-60 चॅनल्स नुसते इन्व्हेस्टमेंटवरती दाखवत असतात, काय करायचं आहे काय नाही. बायका इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करायला लागल्या, डे ट्रेडिंग करायला लागले, गुड. पण त्याच्यामध्ये असं होत आहे बरेच कॉमन इन्व्हेस्टर जो आहे तो भरवला जातो, कारण तो नंतर शिरतो मार्केटमध्ये आणि तोपर्यंत सगळीच्या स्क्रिप्टची हवा निघून गेलेली असते आणि बिचारीने इन्व्हेस्ट केलेलं असताना हे गेट स्टक. दॅट इज नॉर्मली हॅपनिंग विथ इंडिव्हिज्युअल्स. Those who do not are well informed, they do not have means to know actually what is happening. So ते शेवटी एंटर झालेले असतात मार्केटमध्ये आणि ते तिथेच राहावं लागतं त्यांना. सो दॅट इज अनदर ट्रबल. बिकॉज ऑफ दिस सोफिस्टिकेशन, lot of new instruments companies are selling. They are giving various promises. They are showing various schemes where they are assuring that your returns will be much more. पूर्वी आपल्याकडे म्युच्युअल फंड होते तेव्हा युलिप आणि काही गोष्टी लोकांना माहिती होत्या. आता मला वाटतं जवळजवळ 6,000 ते 7,000 म्युच्युअल फंड आहेत. 6 ते जर चला 5,000 म्युच्युअल फंड म्हणून तुम्ही कुठल्या म्युच्युअल फंडमध्ये इन्व्हेस्ट करणं हे पण खूप कठीण झालेलं आहे. आणि जे मी आता लोकांशी उल्लेख केला, वी आर द age, this is the age group people where they have seen this evolution, and today they are now in their 60s, plus 60s or 70s, and it is very difficult for them to cope up with the deluge of this information and understand what is going to happen and how they are, because they are earning only living on passive income. मगाशी जसा उल्लेख केला वेळी पार्लेमध्ये मला वाटतं ऑलमोस्ट पर 100 हेड काउंट जवळजवळ 50 ते 60 लोक नोकरी नाही करत. ते फक्त स्टॉक मार्केट डायमंड ट्रेडिंग जे उभ्या भाग कानाकोपऱ्यात उभे राहून सगळीकडे करत असतात. सो दॅट इज द डिफरन्स. इन दिस 50 पीपल maybe they are all above 50 and 60 age. So they are only living on passive income. They are making good money, some are not making good money, but still. So what is the importance is that there is awareness. आपण कॉमन इन्व्हेस्टरकडे ज्यांना हार्ड अर्न पैसे त्यांचे आहेत, रिटायरमेंट नंतरचे पैसे आहेत, जे काही साठवलेले पैसे आहेत ते स्टॉक मार्केट, कारण कुठेच त्यांना व्याजदर मिळत नाही आता जे काही फायनान्शियल प्रोडक्ट आहे त्याच्यामध्ये. सो दे हॅव टू नाव सेफगार्ड देअर इन्व्हेस्टमेंट. आणि तो स्टॉक मार्केटमध्ये जायला बघतो तर तिथे प्रचंड प्रमाणात आता हे आपण बघतोय पीई मल्टिपल्स. नो यू कॅनॉट फाइंड एनी सिंगल कंपनी वेअर देर इज ए नॉर्मल डेटा अवेलेबल in spite of all the ready reckoners like money control and etc., all are available. But the data and data interpretation is very difficult. On top of that, many large stockbroking companies or registered companies, those who were earlier only registrars, they have turned into PMC, PMF and whatnot, different type of boutiques they have started. They are inviting a lot of FIs on their representing, let's say, FIs. So there is a lot of money coming in, and all these stocks which may not have intrinsic value, but they are turning into 3-digit PE ratios. So that is the situation. त्याचबरोबर आपल्या गव्हर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडियाने आता एवढी प्रगती केलेली आहे आणि इंटरनॅशनली वी हॅव कमिटेड लॉट ऑफ अवर चॅलेंजेस टू रिड्यूस द CO2 emission. जे आपण आता रोज वाचतो बघतो टी व्हीवरती वेगवेगळ्या चॅनलमध्ये की ह्या ज्या आता जसं G20 झालं त्याचप्रमाणे COP20 जे काही आहे असे वेगवेगळे जे करार होत आहेत ज्यामध्ये देर वॉज लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर ऑन इंडिया टू रिड्यूस द CO2 emission. अँड ऑब्वियसली आपलं जे आताचं गव्हर्नमेंट आहे त्यांनी खूप प्रकारे स्टडीज करून वेगवेगळ्या प्रकारे दे हॅव कमिटेड दॅट इंडिया विल रिड्यूस CO2 emission इन नेक्स्ट 10 years, 15 years, 20 years विंडोमध्ये. आणि त्यांनी जी कमिटमेंट दिलेली आहे ती खूपच ॲम्बिशियस आणि चांगली आहे, विच इज वेलकम बाय मोस्ट ऑफ द ग्लोबल financial institutions or transnational institutions. And now next 20 years, 25 years, India is going to transfer into all that kind of development. When we say we are going to reduce the emission, when we say we are going to do this and meet with certain amount of levels, because आताच्या घडीला आपल्याकडे सगळ्यात जास्त पोल्युशन आहे, ही गोष्ट सगळ्यांना मान्य पडते, पण त्याच्यावरती उपाय काय आहे. जेव्हा आता सगळे बाहेरचे लोक मोठे मोठे पेन्शन फंड मोठे मोठे जे फायनान्शियल इन्स्टिट्यूशन आहेत त्यांचे ॲनालिस्ट किंवा त्यांचे ही फाउंडर मेंबर सांगतात की नो दिस येणारा काळ हा फक्त इंडियाचा आहे, फार चांगला आहे. येणारा काळ आता पोस्ट युक्रेन वॉर, पोस्ट कोविड, देर इज गोइंग टू बी लॉट ऑफ मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंग इन इंडिया. Manufacturing means requirement of power. Requirement of power means there is a fossil fuel. Fossil fuel means there is a emission. And on the other side we have the large ambitious commitment by government. And many large companies are already doing their efforts to meet these requirements. Because there are two types of, we have PSUs, we have private companies. Everybody has this commitment to go into meeting with these new requirements. So there is a lot of hype or lot of publicity, let's say, on green investment. Green investment, people are talking about it. Good. There are a lot of companies have come or they were already existing, and now they are coming out with the green investment. Green investment means, as you know, there are any renewable kind of energy projects, which are very simple, and there are large companies that are already doing such kind of green, and they are reaping benefit. They come into the stock market, and they are getting good response. Everything is fine. So these are the kind of green projects which are already coming, like solar, wind. विंडचं प्रमाण आपल्याकडे त्या मनात फार कमी आहे, काही स्टेट्समध्ये आहे, काही स्टेट्समध्ये नाही आहे, पण सोलरचं आपल्याकडे प्रचंड प्रमाणात आपल्याकडे त्याचं इन्स्टॉलेशन झालेलं आहे. ऑलरेडी दे आर प्रोड्युसिंग, already they are going into various kind of transmission in certain states. That is already happening. So those companies are generating funds either from outside investors, and they're also listing themselves on the stock market and getting our Indian public's finance also. So all that is happening. Now, in this kind of green investment, there is a lot of variables which play a big role. आपण आता जनरली बघतो, since we are talking about decarbonization or pollution, invariably we are talking about manufacturing segment. Invariably, it is all about the manufacturing. कारण मॅन्युफॅक्चरिंगला पॉवरची गरज आहे. Okay, for civil amenities we do need power. Everywhere there is a power requirement. So India's power requirement is growing and we are generating more and more power. But a lot of fossil fuels are used and that is the problem. So looking into that, investor should not simply get carried away with this opportunity of green investment. That is the message which I want to clarify here. कारण ग्रीन इन्व्हेस्टमेंट हा खूप गंभीर शब्द आहे. पण इन्व्हेस्टर जो इंडिव्हिज्युअल आहे त्याला त्याने केलेल्या इन्व्हेस्टमेंटबद्दल जे रिटर्न्स आहेत ते त्याला तेवढे सहजासहजी पटकन मिळू शकत नाही. त्याच्यामागे बरीचशी कारणं आहेत. सो आपण त्या कारणांकडे लक्ष देणार आहोत आणि मग त्याला आपण वी आर गोइंग टू मेजर दोज अगेन्स्ट decarbonization opportunities. What is decarbonization opportunities and how investor can choose or select certain companies where he will get more returns or better result or assured results in green or companies those who are engaging into decarbonization. So आपल्या पुढील एक तासात आपण याच्यावरती चर्चा करणार आहोत. आपण इथे कुठल्याही कंपनीचे प्रॉडक्ट विकत नाही आहोत किंवा कुठल्याही प्रकारचे स्कीम्स प्रमोट करत नाही आहोत. हे प्युअरली आपला आत्ताचा जो ऑडियन्स आहे जो प्रेक्षक वर्ग आहे त्यांना एवढंच फक्त आपण क्लिअर करतो की आपल्याला सतर्क राहायला पाहिजे. वी हॅव टू बी व्हेरी क्लिअर अबाउट वेन वी आर गोइंग टू इन्व्हेस्ट फॉर 5 years, 10 years horizon, that how our investment going to perform and in this new wave of green where they should actually invest so they are safeguarded. So we are going to talk about only that. पूर्वीचा जमाना गेला. आता कसं आहे की तुम्ही नुसतेच इन्व्हेस्टमेंट करून होत नाही, तुम्हाला थोडे रिटर्न पाहिजे. कारण आता आपण बघतोय रुपीचं डिव्हॅल्युएशन, तुमचं एज ग्रुप आणि येणारं अजून जे काही डिव्हॅल्युएशन होईल किंवा जो इन्फ्लेशन असेल या सगळ्याला काउंटर करून तुमची 5 वर्ष मिनिमम हॉरायझनमध्ये ती इन्व्हेस्टमेंट कशी परफॉर्म करेल, दॅट इज द की फॉर सर्टन एज ग्रुप ऑफ पीपल. सो आय एम जस्ट going to show you various pictures about what is green investment, what is a decarbonization, which companies are really doing best efforts. मी इथे माझ्या टायटलमध्ये लिहिलं होतं ग्रीन वॉशिंग. See, not green washing. The meaning of green washing is that many companies, like let's say those who are already producing various products, but they are polluting companies. If you take a belt of Ankleshwar, this Lote Parshuram, many such industrial belts, there are a lot of polluting companies. They are always on the radar of pollution control boards. Such companies are not investing much in pollution control systems and other such things. So in order to avoid heavy penalties, they are making efforts for clean energy. So they are the people, like suppose there is a chemical plant. They will simply install solar street lights in their plant or in their residential colony of the workers, and they will declare in their annual report, we are helping to save energy, to save pollution by installing solar street lights. I have seen some of the companies, those who have invested in their industrial canteens, the biomass run cooking system. They are not using LPG, they are using this biomass created pellets, for that you require some different stove or this. But they are claiming those kind of very short and easy way to claim themselves that they are coming into the green area and they are generating certain carbon credits and this kind of thing. That is what they claim when they file their annual reports to stock market or any other authorities. People get appreciate, yes they are doing, really this is very good. Yes, definitely it is good. But their overall impact is not really meeting the main objective of green or something like that. So that is greenwashing. Many people in the
investment. The greenwashing alone is not going to help. So, but investors should be aware about it. So these are all what pictures you see, these are all alternative energy based projects. In India we have huge projects, mostly on solar. Outside India we have this type of projects where we are using alternative methods for generating power. In India we have such companies, those who are engaged only on renewable source power plants. And they are very good companies definitely. So I have just listed this for the purpose of our discussions and distinguishing them between green investment and decarbon companies, which we all know like Adani Green Energy, Borosil Renewables. Borosil actually manufactures various solar related equipment and panels, very good product, but they fall into this category. Indian Energy Exchange is another thing which we already have, where these green companies or these renewable based power plants can trade their carbon credits and other such things. So we already have this Indian Energy Exchange. Then we have all such kind of companies which are in exclusively only in power generation but by using alternative fuels. So these are all companies, people are really buying, they are getting good returns and everything is fine. But long term, we must understand any power project which is using alternative energy like what we have seen is much, much different than any other normal manufacturing where the key element by promoters or let's say investors is payback period for any large capital sum. Payback period for such alternative energy is a very long horizon. Nothing less than 15 years to 20 years and even beyond that. So that is a biggest bottleneck for the investors. Investors should be aware about it. If you have a factory which is producing, let's say, simple like let's say some kind of, plastic article, let's say glass bottle, they are manufacturing glass bottle or any other article, its payback period will be hardly 4 years, 5 years maximum. If project is very big and capital intensive, let's say 6 years. Versus same capital got invested in alternative energy, it will be nothing less than 15 years. Now in Indian operating conditions, we have huge problems when these kind of companies are running the power plants. What are those huge problems? These problems are about the maintenance. Like solar plant, you can imagine if some company claims they have acquired land in a very remote place, huge land chunk of 50 acres and their solar panels are spread across these 50 acres or something like that. In states like Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh or any such places where such plants are already being put up, there is a tremendous amount of cleanliness required for such kind of solar panels. As such, these solar panels, when they were set up, whatever companies list we have seen, let's say we assume these projects are already in production phase, they were set up before 5 years, 10 years, their efficiency of producing is not more than 50%. You can imagine a plant for manufacturing glass bottle or some article, his factory will run for 100% capacity utilization. So if he is producing, let's say 10 ton per day glass bottles, he gets that much of sales revenue and then financial returns. Versus these kind of solar panels, which are installed before 5 years, its efficiency should increase from 50 to 60 or 70. It doesn't go in that fashion. Instead, it keeps diminishing because of lack of those companies' interest and various hurdles or challenges which they face in the remote places of Rajasthan, Gujarat, Maharashtra, wherever they are. We have practical difficulties. You can imagine, even to travel to those solar power plants, their company staff from Melbourne Point office will not move. They have certain regional offices, they are sending their staff to do the things. There are storms coming in. We have heavy monsoon spell. This doesn't work.
And if they have to make them work, there is a lot of maintenance work is needed. While doing maintenance work, there are accidents. People get electrocuted, people have a lot of other problems, fall, etc., because we have a tendency not to use or invest safety gear. For the sake of showing local municipality or fire brigade, they will say that yes, we have these 50 workers, they are using these safety gears, whatever is mandated. But in reality, out of those 50, only 5 will be wearing, rest will be made to run around this and do this thing. So what I'm trying to say, there is nothing wrong in solar power or any such alternative. But from the point of investor, it is very important how is my investment working, how is my returns are going to come. Because as we are witnessing, companies are putting up all such high capital investments. They value during IPOs in certain phase where, like in earlier we were getting 10 rupee share in 10 rupee. Now those days are gone. We will not get 10 rupee face value share in 10 rupee because there are a lot of intangible, in very non-variable factors are loaded into that, and we will buy that share maybe 200 plus or something like that. Actually it's face value, but what they say, they are claiming premiums on that. After buying those premier face value equity shares into such companies, the returns are not coming that way what it would have been. So that is one of the major obstacles for common investor. We are here referring only for common investors. Financial institutions or all such big pension funds, they take positions, their view is different. They know all these pitfalls, but they have their own equations to get in and get out. So that is different. Here we are only concerned about, let's say, people of Villeparle East. So, we have to make them aware that, be aware that when you are talking, so when somebody is promoting such kind of things, these are the things which are not published, not mentioned by promoters, and then we have to be aware about it. Just we will go about that. Now, when such things are happening, how we can then get rid of, okay, this is something which we just missed when we started about the green investment. So these are the kind of instruments which are prevalent everywhere in India, outside India, and we do this kind of investments, and many people invest in that. If we are a single individual investor who is investing into this, we have to be also very careful about that, about entry and exit and the loads which are given on that, and whether he is really going to get certain amount of returns on that. This is mostly good for financial institutions or the large investors, but for the small investors, it's really not good instruments. Now we will look into the buzz which is presently happening, decarbonization. We are getting a lot of articles, lot of interviews by these multiple sources of information which are now fed into the media that India is going to be a big market. Yes, India is a big market which will remain a big market for any kind of manufacturing, service, anything for next 50 years because we have that kind of demographics. We will simply, my effort here is to make people aware about what is this decarbonization. Decarbonization is nothing but, as I said, if the glass bottle manufacturing company, which is producing 100 ton per day glass and converting into the bottles, they use energy. Energy means electricity. Our electricity which he is using in any industrial area, whether it is in MIDC of Maharashtra, GIDC of Gujarat or Karnataka or Tamil Nadu, he is using energy. Now, the energy which is used by those kind of plants are used by certain heavy electricity consuming equipment such as furnaces or other such devices. Unfortunately, all such devices, equipment what we have in India are energy guzzling, and we are producing it, which is known to the promoter who had set up that plant. But now, in the era of decarbonization, if that promoter has really a desire to go for reduction of energy also automatically gets into the reduction of CO2. So he will improve the efficiency of his furnace
or any other such equipment which they are using. Improve means he will add some capital, small capital, to improve the burning system, the coal system, or whatever it is, depending on that particular furnace, boiler, whatever they are using. So that is called decarbonization, which is because of small investment, reducing his coal or any other fossil fuel which they are using to convert glass into glass bottle. So last 10 years they were, let's say, using X amount of energy. But because of this investment, he has reduced that X amount of energy to, let's say, 20% less. So that is a big gain for that company for coming next 10 years, because he has already reduced his footprint of various way, and that kind of company we can term or label as a decarbonization company. Investors should look for that kind of companies. It is very easy to say that investors should look for that kind of company, but how the investor will know where are such companies? Because none of such companies will be publishing the information or something like that they do not have direct communication with investors, but investor at least should be aware about it. So normally the decarbonization or reducing the emission has these four elements like energy efficiency, which I mentioned, industrial electrification just now as you mentioned, because today you must have seen since last 25 years we have a host of industries migrating from western part of India to Himachal Pradesh and these kind of states, Uttarakhand for that matter. Uttarakhand does not have power. They do have small hydel power plants. So that is the industrial electrification plays role in that, because the power there is cheap, but power there is not regular. So most of the pharma and cosmetic and such kind of plants which are migrated there in Himachal Pradesh, they have few industrial areas, I don't recollect the names. Baddi is one of the lot of pharmaceutical companies you will see. They are migrated from Gujarat and Ankleshwar to Baddi and running factory on a diesel generator set. Now see the fun. Now he is polluting Himachal Pradesh instead of Ankleshwar. Because there is no power simply. You can imagine if you will open a website of Himachal Pradesh Electricity Board and any non-technical person can see the way pathetic operations they have. They don't have sufficient means for storage of the electricity, which is called substation. From substation to transfer to the, so distribution, transmission, distribution, and going to the necessary. So within Baddi itself, suppose we need, let's say about 50 substations to feed various industry, they will only have 10 substations, which they are rationing the electricity, which is affecting certain factories. So instead of running 3 shifts, they are compelled to run in 1 shift. Another shift they are working with a diesel generator set. Or maybe if they have funds or space, they will have some solar installation or something, that kind of thing to mitigate this situation. But their primary intention is to run the factory, not to come to the green or save CO2 or something, because they are looking to run his plant. So that is a kind of thing which we call as industrial electrification. Now these low carbon fuels, feedstocks and energy, again it's a myth. There is no low carbon fuel available to us. Which is available will be in very small way. Like let's say agro waste. Agro waste is not abundantly available everywhere. So that falls under this low carbon. Now this is last point which, these are the globally known 4 elements for the emission reduction, carbon capture. Everybody reads into the media carbon capture and all those kind of things. That is not done by ordinary companies. It is very difficult. There is no technology available. There is no capital also available for that kind of companies. Carbon captures are done in India by many other large companies. We are going to see that. So right now we limit only to what is decarbonization and what are the elements which gives you decarbonization process. The same decarbonization is just depicted here with the graphics, low carbon, then energy efficiency, this is storage and industrial, which just now I mentioned to you. So these are the 4 basic pillars for the decarbonization. Okay, now we will see where is the CO2 happening when everybody is saying we have to reduce the emission. We every day read in Economic Times or whatever
publications we commonly read, India is committed in next 15 years we are going to reduce this. Every media is publishing various interesting information, but a common person should know how it is going to happen and how I'm going to select my companies where I'm going to invest. When this is a trend for next 20, 40 years, I have to be in that trend where I get a better returns. That is the objective. He is not concerned about COP20, COP28 and Paris Accord and all those kind of things. He has to see next 5 years what is going to happen and where I have to invest. So CO2 value chain I have just mentioned. Most of the power plants, cement plants and smelter, these are the polluters, these are the culprits, we would say, just for a discussion sake here. Because you cannot produce electricity without certain fossil fuel. And in that, coal stands number one, globally, not only here, globally. So we will see what is this coal. So let a common person know that how the electricity is coming. I was surprised, just out of this subject. We have a manpower training company and we do training for manpower. For last almost 5 to 10 years, we were doing some training to the fresh engineers. In New Bombay area, there are 5, 6 big colleges. Fresh engineers are waiting for campus recruitment and there was a big problem. The problem was that, suppose these are all engineers, now they are being recruited by these companies from Pune, everywhere. And of course college then published very smartly, look, we got placement from Thermax, we got placement from L&T, etc. But the statistics was that out of 100 such fresh engineers taken away in the campus recruitment, around 60 are kicked out in 3 months. That they are not publishing. Neither many people are aware about it. Okay. Now why they are kicked out? Because there was a total mismatch. The campus recruitment officer of that college, that company and college, they are simply not knowing. Like demand and supply equation was not matched. There was a lot of tilt. But in a hurry to show the results, both want to do something. You can imagine, suppose a person from Chennai, from some companies coming to this place to recruit the people, he has certain mandate given that I want job description like this 50 people, like this another 50, 100. So he comes with that mindset. He has to finish that work in 2-3 days when this college is available to them, and then they are put with the ocean of students. Now college has not done any homework, and then you can see imagine what is the result. However, why I am talking about that is, so we tailor-made, we have this training company still working. We do practical training with machinery for the students, for the workers and engineers. So we tailor-made one-day program for the engineering students. I physically and my another colleague went there and we have done these lectures for fresh engineers in those colleges. Lokmanya Tilak College and something like that. Many colleges are there. I've forgotten the name. This is about 10 years back. And we gave them for a group of around 80, 100 people, one-day session. And we gave them what is a picture, what is the industry. So we asked, what is the core industry of India? Core industry. And have you been known in your 4 years travel or this journey from first semester to last semester? Because now tomorrow you have interview, tomorrow you are going to be training engineer and whatever. So you should know something about India. What is the requirement of India? What is that company is going to expect from you? So they had a vague idea about this. So we explained them what is a core industry. Like cement, this. So many people, why I am showing this and talking about, many people were still not aware what is the power plant. Because you see, we have a generation, we have a people that they simply switch on the button, everything is available, everything is, good things are available, So somebody is supplying, like, water is coming, the electricity is coming. So people, the students were not aware what is the power plant. So we told them what is a power plant, how the power is there. You are sitting here in New Bombay, from where the power is coming. So we told them 150 years before, visionaries like Tata, they have put up a plant here, hydro power plant is there, in between, Bombay, Pune, Khopoli, Lonavala, So they were astonished. I said, fine, no need, because your college curriculum does not include that, but you should know. So 150 years, 200 before, people have a vision and they put up the power plant. That is how we are getting this power here. So the coal is very important input which students does not know. However, we limit that, we come back to common investor. So coal is a very dirty business. So we have coal mines. Everybody will buy Coal India shares. We have, I think, Coal India company and this very big PSU. And we buy their share and we keep reading their annual report and publication, etc., etc. Inside that, there is a big problem. So this is how coal looks into the mine. If this coal is there in Karnataka and it is to be brought to Koradi in Maharashtra or Chandrapur, it's a big game and there is a lot of trouble. So these are the troubles. See, this is the coal. Then it is brought. That coal is then pulverized, means broken into the small powder before it is put to the power plant. And that is called pulverized coal. All this is a big labor, big problems. Suppose from Dhanbad the coal is coming here to Koradi or whatever, If we have loaded there 100 ton, while you unload here, you will only get 800 ton. 200 is gone. That is the statistics for many decades. Okay, so we will just look into, we are looking right now only in coal. See, 400 kg of coal needed to produce 1 megawatt power. Forget about all these things, I will only try to give you information about that. India's coal consumption is increasing, which is not going to reduce, at least for next 25-30 years. So we are going to produce lot of CO2. So this is the data which I have mentioned there. 1 billion ton of mark by the end of 22 already recorded. Let us look into the fossil fuel base power plant capacity. We have 237,000, which comprises 57% of our share of entire power producing raw material used. Coal is this much. That was megawatt, below is the coal. Now, I just want to give, since I showed you what is the coal, ultimately this is the boiler which is going to burn this pulverized boiler for producing power. So just for information. So this is how any kind of power plant will look like. Now we will go into the cement. This is another big pollution industry worldwide, not only in India, worldwide. Recently means let's say before 10 years, China had closed down about 1,500 cement plants because they had a pathetic result of emission. You can imagine the number, 1,500 cement plants. Means how much are still there? That's just out of, because it's a basic industry. As you see, the infrastructure development in China and India, so these are all needed. It cannot be stopped. You need coal, you need cement. So we will look into the cement. So these are the cement kiln where, you have a lot of raw materials and then we are using this and we produce a lot of emission, which is going into the atmosphere. These are, again, the fertilizer plants. India is largest fertilizer producing country. India is largest gas importing country to produce fertilizer. All ammonia, all urea, what we buy, use everywhere. There is one interesting statistics also. This is a kind of plant it is. US fertilizer plants emit 100 times the methane reported. This is the statement come in many media which is available there. So when India says we are giving X amount of pollution or CO2 into the atmosphere, in USA that X is 100X. They don't actually give right figures, but we get pressure in all this Paris Accord, COP Accord, or earlier whatever international conferences are taken, intergovernmental conference, exchange information and commitments. This is again similar kind of plants where the cement is used. This is the steel furnace. This is again very interesting fact. Even as on today, when we are nearing to 24, all our steel plants are having very inefficient furnaces, where when we burn something to melt the raw material of the steel, for that burning, if we have burnt fuel 100 kg to get a output of certain amount, out of that 100, only 40% is useful to get the output of power to melt, smelt, or whatever it is there. Why? Because those furnaces are designed and manufactured and operated in those kind of conditions. This is known to everyone. It's not, it is only known to the engineers. It is known to the owners of the steel plant, environmental ministry, this ministry, that ministry. Everybody is aware about this fact. Now there is a pressure. So they are enforcing companies to modify such kind of furnaces or devices which are consuming and producing such imbalanced results. So of course this can be contributed under decarbonization. If any company which is modifying the furnaces and other such kind of thing, because in steel industry there are two different routes. They call as a blast furnace route and electric arc furnace route. So the blast furnace route is different where they consume lot of energy, whereas this electric arc furnace consume less energy. So any company is doing any effort to divert this is the decarbonization company. This is one very interesting thing. Whatever manufacturing we are doing, on that how much CO2 is coming, that is indicated here. Per kg or any dollar, whatever we produce, any output, our CO2 emission is this much. Russia is on top, India is second, 1.5 kg. This is kg of CO2 emitted already to earn $1 per annum. So you can imagine if our GDP is growing at whatever rate, how much kg of CO2 will be burned and gone into the emission, and we are now putting cap on that because of our government's commitment and various other things which is happening in the industry. But this only allows us that this is the scope for India to do the decarbonization, and companies, those who are doing decarbonization, we should aim for the investment. That is the message. We are not considering here global, international practices or politics or anything. We are only limiting ourselves that where are the opportunities, where we should park for longer duration. This is all long-term duration, but 5 years is, according to me, a very reasonable horizon for any kind of investor, whether he is young or 60 plus or something like that. So this I brought only to highlight this. See, China also 1.5. So many people would say that, oh, we are not only the big polluter, but you will see China has done tremendous progress on mitigating this problem because they have tremendous capital and their system is different. That is different subject. But this is where India is. See, this is USA. Why it is so low? I will add some information just for our, because they stopped manufacturing. Now, after Ukraine war, they are starting manufacturing. We are actively involved with some of the chambers of commerce and other people. They are asking to come and industry to produce even like a smaller plastic items, everything they are buying from China, everything. So they are now beyond that replacement, and then there is now big transition happening we are talking to one company to put up a plastic tarpaulin project in USA, which is widely consumed because of their environmental cyclones, typhoons, etc., etc. Their homes are destroyed, reconstruction, etc., etc. So they were heavily importing this plastic tarpaulin of certain grade. Now they want to produce locally. The statistics says even if 100 number of such factories are set up in USA, all will be still needed. There will not be overcapacity of producing simple product called plastic tarpaulins. So that is why this number and this number is much different. We'll go further. Same here as we mentioned. This is what we are dependent, and this is going to remain as it is. It's not going to change. This will change little bit. It will, but at a very slow speed. As just now I mentioned you, the problems or pitfalls in operation of renewable energies. Okay, there are new technologies coming in and the higher efficiency is going to emerge, and many such things will result into good thing which will contribute to this, and we can lower the coal consumption. But as you read every day, the coal and related information in India, we are in very pathetic condition, let's say. Oil, of course, is increasing. We do not have natural gas, so this is not going to increase. It will increase with a snail pace because we have something small coming in certain parts of this Kaveri and other basins in Andhra Pradesh, and companies like Reliance, BP and all, they are producing gas, but it's still not going to be very, two-digit achievement will be also long term there. India's current carbon emission, which we discussed, I am just showing you the numbers which are from IEA, which is, approved by everyone. It's not of any particular government or institution. These are discussed and accepted by intergovernmental discussions. So you see the coal. So coal only for power is this much. And of course the resultant emission. The industry for using coal again and the emission, iron and steel, cement, lime, mining and these. Interestingly, one must know, in urban areas, the commercial offices are also large polluters, which we are not aware. The commercial offices burn a lot of energy. Today, there is a situation which we must know. In many parts of the advanced countries, the local citizens are opposing to have data center in their city. There is a lot of emergence of data center, as we know, because of digitization and because of internet and everything. We have so much Insta, this, everywhere there is a heavy data, and that is not going to reduce or stop. So it is somebody storing them, Our phone may have a certain capacity, but there are devices like, we have electricity which is stored somewhere, so the data is stored somewhere, and storing the data is most difficult task because it is consuming lot of energy, and that is why that black coal will be still remaining there. In India also, now in last 5 years in Maharashtra, a lot of data centers have come, and they are already experiencing difficulty of continuous power. In Mumbai, outside Pune, there are a lot of data centers have come and still coming. So those international companies are now concerned and they are moving out of Maharashtra and they are going in another state where there is a uninterrupted power available to them, which is another transition. But input is that CO2, power and scope for the companies which are mitigating this, and that is where we should look into this decarbonization and the companies for that. This was another very good thing which is possible in terms of, these are the manufacturing units spread across all over geography, and it is identified that within this kilometer radius there are effect of their pollution. If necessary systems are installed or utilized, these areas will be much protected, and that is something most of the pollution control boards are trying to impart this information to various industry. So it is only for that. So there is a lot of possibility to reduce this emission if these things are also taken care of. This is just, I'm trying to show, this CO2 capture when people are saying it is not that easy. It has these various kind of stages and it requires altogether different technology and machinery, which we will see some of the photos. And that is why I'm showing that the decarbonization require all those things. And we have to identify who are the companies in stock market, those who are already getting into these kind of things. So we should look for those kind of scripts. So, see, these are some of the installation of carbon storage and all those kind of things. We will now look at the companies which are already committed for decarbonization and they are listed, and we should actually see that how I can enter into those kind of scripts for a long-term investment. So there are many kind of such companies which will reap big benefit in coming decades, like this JSW Group, Tata, ArcelorMittal. These are all mostly you will see again in core industry like cement, steel, power also. But they seemingly, their annual reports, their publications, their government commitment, and they are already doing some kind of capital outlay on decarbonization efforts. Like TISCO, Tata Steel, I will show you somewhere, is one of the first company in India to invest heavily on decarbonization. So such companies are really good. Their present valuation will be already very high, maybe multiples and this, but let's say that's going to be steady than a individual standby renewable energy plant. Okay, I'm not saying one should not invest into those kind of things, but for an investor who is aged 60 and 60 plus and who is really much dependent on his passive income of this kind of outlay, for him, rather than this decarbonization based company is much useful for getting returns. Our objective is only that. Another big problem going to happen in future is after Brexit, Ukraine war, COVID, lot of things have changed. Now Europe is protecting themselves much vigorously than 10 years back. They are now going to ask for any import which is coming into their country, whether it is China, whether it is Vietnam, whether it is India, to comply certain amount of carbon-related restrictions, which they termed as carbon border adjustment mechanism. As usual, you will see most of these European agencies or EU always try to restrict various kind of imports, but there are certain imports which they will still have to do. So they are going to filter those kind of imports with lot of such things. We will not go into a lot of details, but let's say there is a company, some pharmaceutical company from India which is exporting. Now, apart from FDA or another such agency, that exporting company will have to now very in detail undergo with this mechanism. So it is going to add a cost to that company. At the same time, it is going to add an opportunity to the investor where to see that if such companies are available, those who are already complying, and so they are a better candidate for investment. That is a message. That is why I have included this information here. Like we discussed this, the various ways of decarbonization, like energy efficiency, low carbon, we discussed here. But in reality, they are very long-term, very tedious, and inviting a lot of capital. That is a big hurdle, and that is why not every company is openly committing. They will keep doing that themselves, but they are not openly committing. Some companies like a level of TISCO, Tata or JSW and all that, they are already committed. They have already spent a lot of huge capital for such kind of commitment, and they are already getting benefit of this decarbonization in their balance sheet, which we will briefly see. So, in spite of all these negative or not so promising description which I mentioned about renewables and decarbonization, then what are we left? Where we are left? So we are just trying to compare, the power producing companies are one companies which have greenfield projects, it has longer gestation period. They are risk based for the alternative raw material available to them. It is not simple. They will put up the plant once, let's say biogas, biomass, or any such thing, They may have initially 1 or 2 years good supply of various raw waste and other such kind of thing, but they may not have after 3rd year, 4th year. So there is a risk. The table here is only to highlight what are the risks they will have, Plus these will always have appetite for capital. I want to show you a small clip here and then proceed further. This clip shows how the solar plants are using cleaning of the solar panels. From that you will imagine how difficult it is to maintain a solar panel. Just give me 1 second. Cleaning these solar panels, there are machineries, which machinery are installed to clean this, and you have to continuously use them to attain certain kind of efficiency of your power generation. I don't know, I'll try to increase this. This is not for solar power plant. This is something for a factory which has laid these solar panels on their roof. So it is relatively much simpler machine. I'm going to show you something for the solar power plant also. So such type of machines are needed. I will show you some robots also. But this is the kind of thing which normally, suppose there is an existing warehouse or existing something near JNPT, cold storage and all that, they have a huge amount of surface area of the roof. So they need this. The matter doesn't end just by installing the solar panels. Otherwise the solar panels are of no use. So that is the waste of capital. Okay. Yeah, it is cleaning and washing. You can imagine even this machine requires maintenance. Sorry? Yes. Yes, yes. Sorry? No, there is a there is a motor. So this is I have one very good clip, just give me one moment. See, some of the Indian plants are using this machine. This is a solar plant itself. Huh? This is much common. This is nothing new. This is, but we must know. Idea here is that we must know what is happening. See this? How much efficient it is and how much painful and how much hazardous. People are climbing there with the wooden these things. This is not reported in that company's annual report. हा हे सोलर प्लांटच आहे. No, no, मी दाखवले. See, this is something which is outside India. See this. जसं गार्डनिंग करतात, they are doing gardening. You can imagine that there is a lot of other troubles. This water is there which is seeping down and it is weakening the foundation of that structure where these panels are installed. Because we are talking of 20 years payback period. So I have to worry about the foundation of my structure. Because if they change the angle, suppose this is a solar, my platform and now this is tilted, I am not going to get efficiency of generation. Okay, I am going to show you one small robot. I had this somewhere.
They have not come up with the micro cells. We don't require such a huge structure.
Yeah, there are many. This is old. This is old. Nowadays there are structures which tilt according to the sun's intensity.
But still you don't require huge structure like this.
No, but still you require certain structure. We have done, I have myself done in Dubai 500 solar installations on the earlier one which we have shown. We have a company where I am involved, 500. There is a government agency, there they are giving these solar panels free to certain community and there is an installation required. So the new, in power plant there are now different type of foundations or structure needed which are very much light but durable. But they are very sophisticated. In India, we are still not using. They are called tracking system. The solar panels are tracked like this, and so you get better efficiency depending on the sun's movement and all those kind of things.
IITs, they have invented something. Last week there was an article in the environment.
That is only inside IIT. IIT or many such institutions are very good things. Like we have. In chemical industry we have IICT and NCL, Dr. Raghunath Malshekar's earlier, tenure. They have done a lot of interaction with industry and these research laboratories, but very difficult. Since you mentioned IIT, I will give you a piece of information. India is the largest user of agrochemicals. Few of the agrochemicals, since 80 years, we are importing and using. That is how we have companies like Bayer, and Zohar is still much better. Bayer and very, But there is one very common agrochemical called monocrotophos. In Hyderabad, NCL have developed the technology for monocrotophos, which is chemical basically, used for agrochemistry. Their technology, they were trying to promote. I have been there personally when I was working in one company to take that package and put up a commercial plant for a private industry. But we face so much difficulty in spite of such a big, NCL is a very big name, because they have developed many technologies. But, there are a lot of problems in technology transfer and what is really needed in a commercial plant to start quickly and come into the production and show the results or the profits, So that is a hurdle. IIT is just within IIT. I will make one attempt to see that robot because it's very interesting. Actually what has happened, since there are two screens, it works very slow. It is not working because there are two screens. Anyway, we will stick to this. So this is about, the common investor should look and compare this. Power producing companies have certain benefits, whereas existing manufacturing companies engaged in CO2 reduction is the priority under the label of decarbonization. they are the right candidate to claim that they are engaged into decarbonization. So this is the difference we must always keep in mind when somebody is investing in this kind of emerging things. They should not be simply guided by a label of green investment company. That is the objective behind that.
There are some companies comes under ESG.
Yeah, ESG is environmental sustainable growth in ESG. See, these are all labels, titles. ESG means what? If this company is there and they are not producing gaseous water or any kind of pollution, plus they are having very good HR policies, they are not using child labor or they are having proper, compliance with all kind of things. They are ESG. A small company can work and comply all kind of ESG. Okay, this is something which when we talk about this segment of green and decarbonization, we should be aware that any company who is doing this, like I showed you this power and manufacturing company, they are entitled to get benefit of this. What are those benefits? They are basically carbon credits, which are incentives available to them approved by government of India or any other governments outside the country also. So we are fulfilling, our government has also given a lot of commitment to international intergovernment panel that we will be exchanging carbon credits, and this is basically a benefit which company is going to accrue when he is showing something he has done to move away from fossil fuel to alternative fuel or decarbonization. So these are benefits. So again, their balance sheet is going to be improved, which is going to be useful for investor. So that is the message here. There are many critics which comes whether India will really allow or honor the carbon credit market. So we'll just, that is keep happening in the international market. This is one good thing I want to bring your attention to a common investors. We commonly or very frequently read like this: Walmart bought Flipkart share for this, then so and so company, outside company has bought this company equity stake at this multiple, etc., etc. People wonder, that how such valuations are coming, what are the benefits for Walmart, what are the disadvantages to the local company, etc., etc. So we will just have a glance because it is again correlated with the subject which we are talking. Now when Walmart say this, okay, fine. What is a Walmart business? They are a chain for a normal, household items and article, any kind of normal supermarket. But they are very big. Now they have acquired Flipkart's share. Flipkart does not have supermarket. Flipkart does not have hard assets showing that this is my factory. I have acquired this land and we have put up $200 million worth of warehouse or cold store or machinery or something. They do not have. Flipkart only has intangible assets where people are. It's a platform. It's e-commerce. So why Walmart is coming and doing business with them or any such kind of thing? Because under the Flipkart's shelter, there are, let's say, we will put up simple number. There are 100 suppliers. Those have factories. Those have assets. Those have workers. Now, those suppliers are needed by such international agencies for what? Because they will ask them to comply for green or ESG. So they generate carbon credit. Suppose there are, out of these 100 vendors or suppliers, there are 20 companies which are only producing packaging, cardboard boxes and plastic cartons and whatever it is. So we will title them as a packaging material they are producing. Now while, like let's say these 20 companies, few are in Gujarat, few are in Punjab, few are in let's say Maharashtra. So each of these companies, they will ask, we will buy your cartons only if you will put up 2 solar panels there in your factory. We will buy your products only if you will have some another means of generating carbon credits. So the business here is carbon credits for Walmart. So that is the equation. This goes for all international players which come into India. It is permissible. It is not wrong. But information to common man should be known that that is how these valuations are done. While Flipkart or any other, I think we have a lot of e-commerce, other platform, so they bring it to certain level, then they have very good valuation, then they exit. That is the business model. So here, let's say you can imagine Flipkart may have all over India how many vendors and suppliers. We don't know. We put 1,000 number, let's say. So each of those 1,000 members will generate carbon credit, which will benefit to the Walmart. And that is why Walmart don't want to come and put here a chain of hundreds of supermarket. Okay, so that is just information. Same way here, Walmart will always show on their websites, their annual report, that how green we are. Because they are generating carbon credits here, not in USA. There is one very good, another example. Okay, see here they have written very clearly, Walmart on their website, more than 4,500 suppliers have signed on to do certain kind of mitigation on their own cost. Walmart is not funding, Walmart is not giving them any aid. Walmart says, you invest 1 lakh rupee for doing something, you will generate per financial year certain credit, which I will buy. Only then you will remain in my suppliers list. So that is the main business. And of course then they will keep writing various things, we are globally clean company, etc., etc. All that stuff will be always remain. Same way, very good thing. All the DHL, United Parcel, all the such kind of courier companies, global courier companies, have huge problem. Problem towards they are maintaining aircrafts, owning aircrafts. Aircrafts are generating lot of pollution. Now there are mandates in their home country or there are another countries where they do wide amount of business. You have to mitigate this pollution. So how are you going to mitigate this pollution? Not by reducing the ferry between two countries or any other such thing. They have to use sustainable aviation fuel. So such companies will do lot of propaganda. Here it is a chairman's speech there, of DHL. We are sure creating more sustainable freight sector can only be achieved collectively. Means he alone don't want to invest. Sorry? That is why I am showing. See, our objective is that common man on the ground should know where what we read in the newspaper is not applicable to him. So he should be aware that he should not be driven away by all these kind of good statements in annual reports or annual functions and those kind of things. Now here I have written in a red because I am aware about it. Sustainable aviation fuel is presently not available. I am working on that, so I can claim this. Last 5 years, there is a lot of development happening in finding a sustainable fuel for aviation industry. And large companies like Mitsui and lot of such large transnational companies are doing huge amount of R&D and they are coming out with certain things which can be titled as a sustainable aviation fuel, which will be mixed in an existing fuel. There are two types of fuels. One is called hydrocarbon-based fuel, which we discuss like petrol, diesel, etc., which come from the hydrocarbon. And there are alternative fuels, what we call like a biodiesel. The biodiesel is produced from jatropha. Biodiesel can be produced from used cooking oil. Biodiesel can be produced from slaughterhouse waste or any such kind of thing. There are any number of such raw material where you get, but it is not hydrocarbon. So whatever is not hydrocarbon, it cannot be sustainable. So hydrocarbon based aviation fuel all are using. Now he will have to add such biodiesel or such non-hydrocarbon fuel which will be called sustainable aviation fuel. Now, many companies are doing this. Their projects are very big. Presently in India it does not have. Indian Oil Corporation have started something which they are progressing on that to make sustainable aviation fuel. But when he says, all those kind of things, this is not possible in near future. Okay, we are trying to come to the, so what will be the strategy? What should be the thin line for Indian common investor, where he should keep investing? So we will just briefly go into that. We have to look into the manufacturing companies, those who are really committing themselves for capex, for decarbonization. Now this capex can come from various ways, their own internal accruals, or they can come out with borrowed or public funds or etc. But should there are companies which are doing internal accruals and doing this, they are the best companies like Tata Steel. Tata Steel did not come in the public and ask for the money that I am going to put carbon capture plant which is going to cost me 1 billion and I am offering the shares. No, they even did not publish anything. They had their own internal accruals and they have come out with the capex and they already commissioned carbon capture plant in Jamshedpur 2 years back. We are in 23 or ending 23, but 2 years back they have already done this. So that is a commitment. So such kind of, so we can find companies in cement, iron and steel, minerals. In cement I have just mentioned, China's cement production share equates to half the world's cement. India was the world's second largest cement producer with production amounting to 370 million metric ton in 22. Volume I am trying to show because of that much of scope for decarbonization is available to there. So that is why I included this statement. So we have to find the companies under cement segment who are committing, let's say X company, Y company, this company. We have to read their annual reports or their chairman's or board's speeches where they are really committing something. Okay, pick up those kind of shares and be there for 5 years, 10 years, whatever, and get the yield. Because I'm going to show you something that why it will be better for going into existing manufacturing companies. So same way, like here I have tried to show you something. Tata Steel Company, India's first plant to have carbon capture in blast furnace gas. So this was done in, see I have mentioned there, September 21. They have already done this. So they have done with their own capex. Interestingly, Tata Steel has already done similar carbon storage and capture project in UK, where UK government have funded. Because had they have not done that funding, Tata said we are closing this plant and there would have been job reduction of more than something like 4,000 people. So government don't wanted that kind of reduction. So government said that we are also committing, you also commit. So jointly they have implemented. That is also presently under execution, big plan for decarbonization. So such kind of companies we should look for. Tata is a very large script, but there could be many other scripts in steel segment which are doing decarbonization as an entry. Because Tata Steel as such will be a large value script, to enter. Here there is one annual report we had or something, JSW. They are doing exceedingly well under decarbonization. They have given a lot of statements, Like here, I'll try to increase this bit where you can read this. See, this is really commanding. JSW still included Dow Jones, that is okay. This is this. They have okay, this is what I wanted to show you. I will read out. 40% emission reduction by 30. Just 7 years. 40% emission reduction is not a small feat for such a large plant. They have maybe more than half a dozen such large scale plants spread across different states. So this is a decarbonization. And that decarbonization is a good opportunity to enter into. 33% reduction in water consumption, 100% waste recycling by waste recycling and reutilizing. Then 15% reduction in energy consumption, zero liquid discharge all across locations.
Can we take some questions from there?
Yeah, we will. Yes. So I'm just summarizing this. So these kind of companies we should have in our portfolio in coming years. I'm just showing here some of the decarbonization sites where the decarbonization are done by certain big cement companies globally. Then, decarbonization requires huge amount of equipment and technology. The pictures of that. These are kind of compressor it is required. These compressors are not manufactured in India and it has certain amount of different technology which will be evolved in India in coming years. So these are the equipment which goes into decarbonization. When we say decarbonization scope in energy, yeah. Here again, we are going to produce more and more power and we will definitely have large amount of power requirement and large amount of pollution coming in and thus scope for decarbonization. Just this is one very good small thing I can. This is about coal-based plant, whatever said and done, India will be still having coal-based power plant. This is just small comparison. Coal-based power plant, we have 600 numbers of plant and we generate 212 gigawatt. Where China, in 2000 they were generating this. The capacities, you see, huge difference. We have 212, they have 580 and in 19 they gone into 1100 gigawatt. The vast amount of power they are producing. We will be adding 280 gigawatt in coming decade. Now the crux here is that all our power plants, 52% power plants are new, just set up last 15 years. So you can imagine it is hard for any government-owned power plant or a private power plant. We can stop or do something. So they are going to run. When they are going to run, means they have to use alternative raw material. So that is a scope for decarbonization. Okay, normal life, 40 years of any new plant. Now 15 years, these are 15-year-old plant. And capital recovery in such kind of plant is 20 to 25 years. So last 15 years, none of that plant is yet recover their initial capital. So they have to run for next few years or decade. That is the message. So we cannot scrap these plants, Steel sector also same. We have huge amount of catching up because we are very primitive stage for steel consumption. So these are steel consumption with some another large countries. We are 55 ton per certain units. So we are going to increase in this coming years. So we are going to produce more steel. We are going to consume more energy. We are going to make more pollution. And if we are going to make more CO2 emission, there is a more decarbonization scope. So we have to look into those kind of companies which are connected with that kind of thing, So this is something which I have just mentioned that we are going to have additional CO2 emission because of this kind of statistics which we have. Crude production, crude steel also same thing, There are still in same way. We are going to increase our consumption in coming years. Interestingly, when we process aluminum, we produce more CO2. So in India, we have companies, private companies and public companies like Nalco and all that. They are all producing and they are all emitting and they all will have to mitigate. So we have to see the possibility of those scripts which are committing themselves for decarbonization compared to the greenfield solar or wind farm. We have, by the way, already seen debacles what has happened in our wind farm industry, those who are in stock market. Here again, the energy consumptions, steel industry, 30% of energy consumption is going into steel industry, whereas commercial offices are 10. You can imagine this 10% is a big for offices. and renewable is only contributing 6% in the steel industry. So my last slide says, what is the message for normal investor? All green is not real green. Maybe there will be critics, but fact doesn't change. Real green is real black, means actual decarbonization efforts for existing machinery. So existing plant which are going with internal accruals on their own for decarbonization is the solution for common man or common investors. We are not concerned about financial institutions or pension fund. We are talking about individuals. Okay, so this is my, I think, last discussion. We will now get into any question because this was a complex subject. Normally more technical kind of thing, but you can raise as many as questions. We have a lot of input on that.
Yeah, one question. Basically, now the way you mentioned, it seems that this decarbonization efforts possibly are genuinely required for many industries. Are there companies existing in India who will manufacture machinery for this particular?
Yes.
But that would be the real scope as an investor.
Very much. As we see, India does not have talent or technological shortage, and we will definitely, we already have many companies coming into that. Like you keep reading about hydrogen, you see, hydrogen, hydrogen, hydrogen. Mr. Ghorpade is one of the main promoter of hydrogen. Not possible, at least next 10 years. Because globally also hydrogen, globally also hydrogen manufacturing technologies and plants are evolving. The cost of that is too high. Okay, we sideline hydrogen, come to this kind of thing. In India also there are companies which will definitely get into, which are already in this. Like you see, big engineering companies are coming into that, and maybe in next 5 years time we will be in very much good position to supply or service this emerging market of decarbonization. Yeah, your question?
Sir, we are going for more and more electrical vehicles, but I think they require power for charging. So we are going to create a pollution.
See, there are a lot of published information on this. It is true. To save pollution, to save or to ESG, EV is not the solution. You will be surprised. EVs are coming. EV require a battery, like this has the battery. Everything has a battery. Presently, even for solar plant is producing. But what happens, you know, India has very big problem for storage and transport of electricity. So if you have produced, you have to consume quickly. The solar plant I'm talking, you know. Now, there are equipment which says we will store the energy till the time it is consumed. Now the storing means battery. Same battery which is storing energy for your EV car, the similar battery is required also while solar panel power is generated. And that storage requires lithium based equipment. Throughout India, we do not manufacture that. And we buy that from China. And we only put it into plastic container and everything. There are plants in Gujarat which manufacture lithium battery and supply to automotive industry, etc., etc. But they are packaging plant of the lithium battery. Okay, so it is just a evolution, or let's say a hype. Because you are charging, first I elaborated on battery. But battery, again, you have to bring it to some place where you have to charge. So all this coal-based polluting power plant have to run to charge your EV. So that is the, you know.
So planting the trees is the cheapest and easiest way to decarbonize.
Very true. Very true. But what happened? It is not producing something. It is saving the environment. Suppose it is the tree is not producing the steel, and we require steel. True. It is no. It is needed. It is needed. There is no question about it. There is no question about it. It is needed.
Should we hold on to the stocks or should we sell it out?
Which stocks? Which stocks? No, no, I'll give you answer, but which stocks? Huh? Sorry? No, I'm asking, I'm giving a solution on that. You have to analyze the stock. Suppose you are holding, let's say, some company, Bhushan Steel. I'm just giving an example to recollect quickly. Bhushan Steel is now double में गया, somebody has bought it, you know. Just suppose you are holding that kind of company, you have to analyze what is their future, what they are going to come. Are they really committed? That is why I used again and again the word called commitment by the company. If the company is committed, hold. If you feel that is going to be just floating stock, exit and go into more expensive scrip because your capital is working there. Though you will buy Tata Steel at a higher price, but in next 5 years it will give you better result than you stick to Bhushan Steel or kind of that company. Here you may have 1000 share of Bhushan Steel. There you buy 10 share of Tata Steel. Okay, that is the... Yes.
What did you say about the solar power plants, the leading and other challenges, maintenance challenges? You probably made a statement that it's not good for individual investors to invest in solar power plants.
For a long term period, yeah.
So if it is not good for individual investors, the same reasons are applicable to financial institutes, mutual funds and other things.
Agree.
In general, what about the statement that solar power plant ka ROI is not
Attractive. We will say, it is not attractive because it's a very objective, you know, what is attractive is very, different specification come. But you see, I will got your question, I will clarify. See, FII is financial institution, Indian financial institution or foreign financial institutions and any other bigger chunk holders, their criteria are different when they are investing into renewable energy. Here we are only talking to an individual member who is a pension earner, who is earning passive income and living for his next life. For him, it's not attractive. That is my statement.
Okay, there are enough of questions, so we'll close the session, please.
Okay. Yeah. Before we wind up,
We thank Mr. Vikas Ghorpade for taking us through a wonderful experience in terms of understanding the difference between what a green investment is and companies which are investing in decarbonization or reducing the carbon footprint and where the future lies actually. So thank you very much for that, sir, and thank you all the participants for taking your time out this morning.